Every professional has a unique magic waiting to be discovered. At Finding the Unicorn in You helps you unlock your hidden potential. Thank you for tuning in. Now switching it over to our host.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to have two amazing coaches with me. It's going to be such a really good talk today. And we're going to be talking a little bit about like New Year's resolutions, goals, and a little bit on this workshop that we're actually going to host together in February. So the week of February 24th, you don't want to miss it. I'll put all the information in the show notes. But with me, I have Sandi and Callie. So do you all want to introduce yourselves?
Hey everyone, I'm Sandi. I am the badass business coach. I work with business owners to help them start, grow, and not give up on their business goals and dreams, to help them manage the mania of business ownership.
Hi, I'm Callie, and I help you give fewer fucks about what your inner critic is telling you and really get the career and the success that you want that feels like freedom, not prison. So I help you create a career that you don't actually want to escape from.
And y'all already know, my name is Dr. Jaime Raygoza, and I help you excel in your career, but not burn yourself out during the process. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about how to reframe yourself when you have failed your goals, how to kind of go through the shame that comes with it, and how to sustain success in the future. So let's start with Sandi. So how would you start? Let's say that you just failed at your New Year's resolutions.
Well, there's a lot of that going on, and I've been through it myself. So basically, the first thing you need to do is just not forget about the lessons, but let go of that guilt. Let go of what you think should have been, where you should be by now, what should have happened, what you were supposed to do, and what you didn't do. That's where we get caught up and just go into a spiral, and we don't make any more progress. We just give up. Then we've got to focus on what we were supposed to do. So you've got to reframe it and just take that step. Say, okay, forget about the last 30 days, 2 days, 1 hour, and say, this is where I am now. Let's figure it out. Let's regroup, reframe, and go forward.
It's so hard for us to sometimes when you're in the moment to do that. I feel that sometimes when we fail something, we go into all those emotions of like, like here we go again. I'm such a failure. Like, what are people going to say about me? Why do I always do this to myself? Like I felt it like every year, like for the past 5 years, I said I was going to do that. What's that thing called where the hard, it's like 40 days and you're doing like all this
30 hard, 30.
or something hard, right?
Yeah.
Something.
My friend's done it a couple times, and I'm like, you're nuts.
And I've done it, but like I always give up after day 15. And I didn't do it this year because I was like, you know what? I'm going to still do it, but not as intense because there's so much shame that comes into it when you see you're in a group with people and then they're doing it. And then you're like, damn it, I missed to read today. Or I forgot to do that extra like 30 minutes of workout today. And then you start setting yourself up for failure because you feel all this immense amount of shame and you're like, I'd rather just give up, and kind of like you want to take control over your failure. So you fail purposely, but then you're like, I'm going to do other things. But I don't know. What do y'all think about that process?
Oh yeah, it's like can't tell me I'm failing. I failed on my own terms. That was my decision, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to identify whether it was a true reason or a bullshit excuse.
Exactly. And you really need to find out like, where did all this come from? Like, what was it? Lack of planning? Like there's this saying that a coach once told me, and it's ingrained into my head. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Mhm.
And if you don't find out what are the things that cause you to fail so that you can fix it, then you're going to keep repeating the cycle.
Yep.
Yeah.
This year I started with, there's everybody like, oh, I'm going to start the day with this or that. I get my workout in, but I literally, and I'll forget. So thank God I put a calendar reminder on that said morning routine. And it doesn't matter if it's 7 a.m. or if it's 9:30, I will stop and do my 20 minutes of my morning routine, which is, some affirmations or just clearing my mind, I stop and get myself back into it. But that is otherwise, if without that calendar reminder, I would forget most days because I have.
Yeah, like you got to get into a groove, right? Like that's what that's about. It's like get into a groove, but we get into a groove whether we're getting into one groove or another, basically, right? Like you're going to get into the groove of just kind of like mindlessly doing things and drifting here and there, or the groove of like taking purposeful action.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm just delusional, I'm a little delulu, but when I was younger, I just assumed that it just came to you. That if I was really that good of a person and I was going to be successful, all of these things will naturally just pop into my head and everything will fall into place. And when things didn't go the way I wanted to, I was like, it's because I was just never good at it. I was never meant to do that. But all the people that are really successful, they plan into it. They put it in their calendars. They set accountability systems. Things don't just fall into place magically like they do in the Disney World, right?
Yeah. And
No, and I fell into this like a similar thing. So the kind of like I want to call it like the talented, gifted perfectionist trap, where
Mm.
because some things were easy, then when something wasn't easy, I'd be like, fuck that. I'm not gonna do that. Or I would do something and I would care about it. Like I wrote something one time, and I had a friend of my dad's came over, and he was a published author, and he gave me a critique of the thing that I had written, which was really nice. And like looking back, like bless that guy that he was taking taking time out of his evening. But I focused on the one thing he said I could improve, right? He said all these nice things. I really like that you use personification here, right? But the one thing he told me I could have done differently, in my mind, I was like 8, 9 at the time. It's like, well, I can't do that then. I'll be good at it,
you gave up writing because of one thing.
It was a one thing, yeah.
You know what? And I think that's the difference. And like you said, people who just don't make it and people who do make it, you don't give up. You hear about, I looked up the list one time of like celebrities, like actors who made it. And, sometimes they didn't really get their big break till they were like 40 or 50 years old.
What was it? Didn't Oprah get famous until like way later? Like in
Yeah.
her like
Yeah, it wasn't like
is it
super early
Samuel?
20s or anything.
Maybe it's Samuel L. Jackson.
until his 50s, right? That's when he
Yeah,
started making
50s. Yeah.
made a break.
There's still time for all of us.
But it's
Yeah.
recognizing those patterns and recognizing those thoughts that it's not real. That shame that you put yourself into it. Like we're all going to fail one day or another. And it's whether we learn from our failures to be able to reframe and sustain this to be better, or are we going to let it be the end of us and just give up and let go of
Right.
our dreams?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm listening to that. Well, I love the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, but the book I'm listening to now, which Callie, I'm sure you'd love this one, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I've read that.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Yeah. And it's like, so I literally, okay, right here. Oh, right there. Oh, on the previous, because I'm obsessed with my notes. My note. What do I give a fuck about? And it's reframing it. So it's like, what am I putting so much, and a lot of it does revolve around, health and weight and appearance, like for most people, not just me, but, I got obsessed with that in my, because I used to be in such good shape before all my knee surgeries, and I used to be able to do this, and I was like horrified, and I kept telling my physical therapist, I just want my superpower back. I want my legs back, and I had to write, that was number one, is letting go of giving too much of a fuck about not saying, okay, now I'm going to just eat bonbons and sit on the couch. But if I let go of that shame that, you love to talk about, and reframe it of, okay, now I'm rebuilding. Now I'm here at this point, all that. And you do that with your business. You do that personally, professionally. And the thing is if you give so much, wherever your energy or your focus goes, your energy flows. And if we're so obsessed with something, we're over here forgetting about the fact that we have a business to run or a career, a team to lead, or just getting to work on time without that Starbucks cup, rolling in 15 minutes late with Starbucks cup. and you're wondering why your boss is not real happy, or in your team. Oh, it's okay for you to be late. The Starbucks line. Okay. We'll figure it
I,
out.
and I think what important is we are stuck in the past when we're in that negative cycle loop of like, I should have. And I think earlier before the podcast started, we are like, you shouldn't yourself.
Don't shoot on yourself.
Don't should on yourself.
Yeah.
Because when we start shooting, we start creating this negative cycle loop that just really demotivates us and makes us want to even quit and never start again.
Yeah. And that negative cycle loop can sustain itself until the end of time, right? And so
Mhm.
like, how do we break that loop and replace it with a better loop? Like, what do we want to sustain? Do we want to sustain, our own, like, things that we're motivated about, things that we actually have goals about? Or do we just want to sustain, trying, failing, being like, fuck it, right? And so, like, in the sustain part of the workshop, we're going to look at, like, kind of reclaiming our sense of agency. And we can use that agency however we want. Like, we can say, fuck it if we want to, but it's about like actually making a choice and not
Mhm.
just saying it because we want to feel like we have power. But like, if that is my legitimate choice, then yeah, like maybe your goals changed. You don't actually want that anymore. You want a different thing. But what is it that you do want? And kind of make the choice to recommit and to choose something every time. And so if we choose to do something besides the thing we set out to do, then we own it, right? Like, all right, I'm making a choice today. I can make a different choice tomorrow. Like, it has no bearing on my ability to make a different choice.
Right.
And you shouldn't feel shame for restarting your goals. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a person to dust yourself off and say, I'm going to try again. If anything, it makes you stronger. It makes you braver because you failed. And even regardless of that failure, you're still deciding to persevere and push through.
Yeah, that's where the rep is, right? Like, if it was so easy to do this, that, I'll just seamlessly achieve this goal, then why would it have been a goal in the first place? You would have just been seamlessly stepping into it with no effort and achieving it, right? But like, it's the rep is the failing and then the making the choice to do it again.
Well, and that's the thing too, is sometimes people put their goals, there's just that fine line between the goals are too easy or too hard.
Mhm.
It's like the three bears. You got to find the right mix, and there might be some back and forth. And so instead of giving up, just saying, okay, I need to, instead of, doubling my income, maybe I'm going to increase it by 25% and then break that down to what does that look like each month. And then it just depends. Is it a seasonal business, or is it a seasonal? And this can happen if you're a leader of a company or a team, just looking at that, driving forces of whatever is the season in your business or career, just saying, okay, I was going to do this, but now let's do this. And then let's break it down into little baby chunks and do it.
And I'm going to give you a personal example for me. For my business this year, I said that my goal is to have 100 one-on-ones.
Ooh.
And I said, okay. But then the other day I was having like a mental breakdown because I was like, what was I thinking? There's 365 days in a year. A third of that I want to do one-on-ones. I was like, that is insane. I'm never going to meet that goal. That is so insane. And then today I ran my numbers for January. I've already done 25.
Sweet.
And I'm just like, I'm like a quarter way there and it's the first month.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I can coast for a few months. No.
No, because if you stop, that's the problem. If you stop
Right.
the momentum,
Yes.
then that's when like all the excuses starts coming in and you start like slacking.
It's no different. It does not matter if it's personal, professional goal. I was talking to a friend this morning that got some lab work back that wasn't as great. And I go, well, aren't you doing this and this and this? And she's like, well, my labs came back great last year, so I stopped. Oh, and now you're panicking.
I know. It's so tempting though, right? It's like, well, the medicine's working, so I don't think I need it.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah. So you got to let go of everything. So reframe it. Even just forget about, like we talked about, what we thought we should be doing by now. And years ago, when I had my marketing firm, I literally I don't even remember now why I was talking to this person on the phone. I don't remember what it was about. I don't remember his name. What I remember, and this probably needs some therapy as well. Maybe we could bring on one of my clients who's an EMDR expert. He said to me, "You've had your marketing firm for 10 years?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you should be living on," and he named this Geist Reservoir, which in India is where all the, wealthy people, the big companies, the athletes, what people with money lived. And I was like, and I just said, maybe I don't want to live there. But that has stuck with me for 20 some years, and I'm still bent of it. I need to let it go. All right. I'm reframing it. I did not quit my marketing firm that day, but it took me by surprise. I think I'm going to say I'm holding on to that to use as an example to help other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that stung. It's like, why do you think I should be living in? How does he know I'm not a gazillionaire?
And sometimes we fixate over those little things that it only takes us one little idea to creep inside your head, and we fixate on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like rejection from the person you didn't even want, right?
Yes.
I should be the one to say no to you. The hell, and you fixate on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And see, we all have things we want to reframe. I'm adding that to my I don't give a fuck list about Aaron, that dude that day will forever be out of see, and then
And sometimes it's just like admitting that I give a fuck about it,
Yeah.
right? It's
I-
okay,
yeah.
I care deeply about what that asshole said. There, I said it.
Yep. And
And
then
it's like loses some of its
you're gonna wad it up and throw it away.
Mhm.
burn it.
Burn it.
But you need to acknowledge it first. Like Callie's right. You need to
We're gonna
acknowledge.
Okay, so for those people that are coming to the workshop, we're gonna do that activity. We're gonna
Probably won't literally burn it, but
No, we
I
can't.
can tell you
You don't
what
want to set off
No,
some
no.
sparklers. But
Yeah.
we're gonna do that activity, and we can tear it, we can stab it, like with our
Mhm.
it's nothing.
Step on it.
Put it
No.
in water, whatever you need.
Put it in water, drown it, run over it with our chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready. This is gonna be fun and fast and fantastical.
And I'm super excited. And just to wrap up this podcast, like everyone, we are going to have two
I forgot we
opportunities.
were even recording.
Because that's how exciting this is. I'm super excited about this workshop. And for listeners, we're going to have two opportunities for you. So not only can you do a virtual workshop, but we're actually going to have an in-person one as well. They're both on the same week. One's going to be on a Wednesday. The other one's going to be on a Friday. I'll have all the details down in the show notes. And if you're not following us on social media, you'll probably see all of it there. But just register and give it a shot. If you don't feel bad, don't feel the shame of like, hey, I lost momentum. Come to our workshop and restart your journey. It's never too late.
Never starts with one choice.
Exactly. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We hope to see you all at the workshop, and until next week.